There's something happening right now. People are searching for connection in a deeper way than ever before. Not just connection to others, but connection to themselves. And interestingly, many are finding it in places you may not expect, like a sauna. But this conversation goes far beyond heat exposure or recovery benefits. It's about what happens when we slow down, step into a shared space, and allow ourselves to be seen without distraction. Today I'm joined by Chris, the founder of the Sauna Project Sydney, to explore the intersection between physical well-being and human connection, and why spaces like this are becoming more than just a wellness trend. They're becoming a place of reconnection. Chris, I'm so excited to have you here today. Thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thanks so much for having me, Tracy. I am excited to be here too. I'm a little bit nervous, but mainly excited.
That's good. That's good. Nerves good. Let's start at the beginning. How did the Sauna Project come about?
I suppose the Sauna Project came about with my kind of like personal sauna practice. I was thinking about it last night because I had a quick read through what potentially we were going to talk about. I've sort of always just been obsessed with this idea of contrast and physical contrast. And I remember as a kid, Mum and Dad would take us away on a holiday, and if the hotel had the pool, I'd just do laps between the cold pool and the spa, if there was a spa, if we were lucky enough.
Yeah.
So I've always been into that hot cold. And then through my teens, I did a lot of running, and I got introduced to the sauna as like a recovery tool. And then I stopped running, and I realized that the sauna wasn't just for recovery. It was a place that I was able to connect with myself at the moment in our sauna with nature, and then also with other people. And, you know, something was happening, not just physically, but mentally, that was like incredibly transformative and positive.
Yeah.
That's kind of like where my love of sauna came from.
And so then obviously you saw a gap or a niche in the market for this in Sydney, where it's like, hang on, like I'm missing the sauna. I want to do this. How did it come about to actually going, okay, I'm going to turn this into a business idea?
I suppose through a bit of travel. So, I mean, Australia, we're pretty new to the idea of like a sauna culture. And if you go and jump in a sauna in Northern Europe, it's a place where people connect. Often it's out in nature. In Australia, like our saunas, we've got a lot of infrared saunas that are like connected to gyms or a gym membership. And then bathhouse culture is kind of just starting out. But a lot of those still, like either it's a silent sauna or you sit in often with earpods on, or, you know, some people go and put their phone on the other side of the glass and watch the footy, there's nothing wrong with that. That's also awesome. I definitely saw the gap in the market for like wild saunering, outdoor saunering, being able to step out of a sauna into fresh air, into nature, which is traditionally like hundreds of years ago how it was done. I mean, that was kind of it. And we cruised over to New Zealand a couple of years ago. Georgia, my partner, who is also in the business with me and a big part of the community, does most of the work, to be honest. Her cousins.
Shout out to Georgia. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolute huge shout out. She should be doing the interview, to be honest.
Yeah.
Her cousins live in a place called Mount Maunganui, which is like North Island of New Zealand on the east coast. Beautiful, beautiful spot. Very, very similar to the south coast of New South Wales. And they were getting married there. And we went and jumped in a sauna one afternoon at this place called Pilot Bay. Small towns. I was in the sauna with a primary school teacher, which I am, Georgia also, a hairdresser, like the town, like politician. And it turned out those guys attended that session every week. And it was like part of their ritual. They'd met in the sauna, all very different people from different walks of life. I was like, holy moly, this would work at home. And yeah, the feeling you kind of have when you cruise out of that situation, it's epic. I mean, that's what we're trying to do.
And that's what it's about, isn't it? Connection. And like you said earlier, learning about connecting with yourself, but also connecting with other people. I mean, that's what we're wired for, right?
Absolutely.
And so when going into these gyms, and often a lot of those infrared ones, like you said, are tiny. They're like one people ones or barely even two, right? So it's quite a solo experience, which, I mean, can have benefits in itself, but there's something powerful about community.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the other thing with it is like I'm not sure whether it's like a colonial thing or an Australian thing or a Southern Hemisphere thing, but a lot of us feel really uncomfortable in those situations, which I think is quite telling.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we're in our swimwear. We're in a sweaty little box with people potentially we don't know very well. But it's really interesting. I mean, you jump into a sauna in Austria or Germany and, you're like squashed like sardines and everyone's naked and it's so like contextually unsexualized and safe. And I mean, that's another really interesting phenomena at our sauna. We seat 9 people. It's not like super squashy and often we'll have groups of 2, 3, and then maybe a few people who have just rocked up solo and the sessions just surprise you. It's not very soundproof, our sauna. So I can cruise out of running like an Aufguss, which is like our essential oil infusion. And sometimes like I won't hear a peep. And that's awesome because, the session is super meditative and quiet and people are just, they've come to sit. And sometimes you'll just hear laughter and chat and voices and both make me feel great. And both, I think, both are awesome for the people inside. It is interesting how some of us can feel, and I'm part of that as well. We can feel uncomfortable in those spaces.
It's so good to lean into the uncomfortable though, because that's where the sweet spot is.
Absolutely.
Right? So who is actually coming into your space? Is it mostly a younger crowd or are you seeing a real mix of ages?
A real mix of ages, to be honest. Like we're located up at Vaucluse at the moment. So a really interesting area. Beautiful. We're at a place called Vaucluse Beach Paddock, which is just at the bottom of Vaucluse House, like very historic piece of land. Lots of people use the space for events, weddings. I think The Great Gatsby was filmed up there or part of The Great Gatsby. So it's really, really beautiful.
Space. Yeah.
Yeah. And the sauna sits on this walk called the Hermitage Trail Walk, which you can actually walk now all the way from Bondi to Manly along this coastal track. And we get our regulars who, a lot of like the young sort of Bondi crew who are often in the wellness space already. So Pilates teachers, yoga teachers, or people who have memberships to those studios from Bondi all the way to Coogee. And they cruise up and they're like, oh my goodness, I don't feel like we're in Sydney anymore. It wasn't really on purpose. We found it really hard to get a spot. It does feel like that. So we definitely get like a young, fitness, wellness orientated crew. But then we also get an older, I don't know how to say it, like affluent crew who live up in that area. Obviously, it's like a pretty special, like highly sought after part of Sydney. And like we get people who have, saunas in their houses who are choosing to come and sauna with us and really like big Jewish community up there. So like Friday night, we'll get a pre-Friday night dinner, bunch of men who come and do their session and lots of father-daughters, which is really interesting. Whose daughters are like in high school who come up. It's pretty mixed. And that's kind of the point. I want it to be as diverse and mixed as possible.
So when people come along, so you're open from early in the morning?
We actually open evening. So
Evenings. Oh, so no morning.
Yeah. Okay. No mornings at the moment. Yeah, we've trialed mornings early, but at the moment we're doing evenings. We do Sunday all day, but mainly evenings we find. I mean, sauning in the morning is fantastic, but it's hard because lots of people are getting their gym workout.
And then they've got to go to work and then the gym and Yeah.
And there's a bit of research around our circadian rhythms and how like potentially sauning in the afternoon is better for you. Yeah. I think we kind of cruise, you might know more, but I think generally when we're 3:00, we're reaching for our second coffee.
Chocolate bar.
Or chocolate bar or whatever it is. And that's because naturally we're kind of cruising into the evening. And then if we jump in the sauna and spike our body temperature again, you come up and then you come down even further. And that's part of the reason you have this fantastic feeling and sleep after a sauna session.
And so you mentioned at the beginning, Chris, how you just loved going from hot to cold, cold to hot. So your sauna's located on the beach. So does that mean that people are going in and out during the time?
You book in for an hour. Most of the research out of Finland states that in an hour, 3 by 10 to 15 minutes at 85 to 95 degrees is where it's at. We're a Finnish sauna, so our sauna's wood-fired, which is pretty
love
cool.
That. Great smell. Yeah.
And the heat's different. It's a really beautiful, I mean, warm is probably the wrong word, but it is like warm hug kind of heat. So people will jump in the sauna for 10 to 15 and then cruise down and often jump in the harbour for like 5, come back up, have a drink of water, maybe a piece of fruit. We have lollies and some electrolytes and then jump back in the sauna and they'll repeat that 3 times within the hour session. Yeah. And that's kind of how it works. I mean, at the moment, we've had heaps of rain, so water quality isn't so good, but you can step out into the rain, towel down in the grass, just sit for a bit.
Perfect.
Listen to the birds.
You don't want to go in the murky waters of a harbour where there's bull sharks.
Not at the moment. Yeah, definitely not. Yeah. Yeah. Which is, and again, like, my mum is always texting before this weekend. I'll get a text tomorrow, Friday. I'll get a text and be like, don't put your head under because, you're not meant to swim or whatever after 2 or 3 days.
I feel like all mums do that. I have 2 sons and a daughter, but one of my sons is a surfer. So I'm always sending him everything shark related. I'm sure I'm sort of creating anxiety for him, but I think it's my anxiety about the sharks. Yeah, it's a real thing.
Yeah, no, 100%. There was surf at Milson Park last week. It's been pumping.
No, my son's done that before. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And so it's quite an intimate experience, as we discussed, sharing a heated, sweaty space and sitting in silence or in conversation with others. So when do you start to notice those initial walls start to come down with people?
I think from the beginning, people arrive at different times, and sometimes there'll be like 1 or 2 people in the sauna. And it's interesting. I think you walk into a space like that, and as soon as you have eye contact, the subconscious likes to say hello. And that's just an opening. And often what happens is I wait until everyone who is signed up to that particular session rocks up and is sitting in the sauna. And then I'll go in, particularly if it's people who are visiting us for the first time, and give the spiel. And often that spiel, I don't know, background in primary school teaching involves like doing the circle and everyone not saying, just saying their name. And then if there's someone who has been there before, I know something about, you might ask them, you ran poker half marathon last weekend, how'd you go, or whatever. And then, I don't know, that's kind of like our role, Georgia and I and the staff to kind of like
facilitate that sort of sense of community. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I mean, that's the other thing about these spaces is that it's really easy for people who feel comfortable in them to feel comfortable, but sometimes the vibe can just be off. And I mean, that's part of the reason we started the business, was because you can jump into these sort of spaces, whether they be a sauna or a gym, straight away. It's your first time at a gym and there's some hectic locker situation that you don't know how to press the buttons, and in a place you're supposed to feel like really comfortable, calm and connected.
And you're trying to blend in and you don't want to stand out. So I know I felt like that. I joined the Yard gym back in December.
Okay, yeah.
And for someone that's been training at home for a while and doing Pilates classes, I've done so many gyms over the years, but this is quite an intense situation. So it is quite intimidating for people coming into a new space for the first time, especially when everyone seems to know what they're doing. And I agree.
100%. I mean, you can jump into the sauna at Icebergs, which is a great sauna, beautiful view. Got the I
have a friend that goes daily to that.
Yeah.
Shout out to Sally. She is just a huge believer of sauna benefits and community. She's met so many amazing people by doing what she does every day, just connecting with super interesting people.
I mean, the iceberg sauna is a really great example of just sometimes you just feel like a fly on the wall and you're listening to these conversations that you may or may not agree with. Yeah. And it's just happening. In a strange way, they're kind of like this like microcosm of life because, I mean, we're probably going to talk about it, but the fact for me personally, being able to sit still for 3 times 15 minutes, have an hour off the phone and then, actually do it is a really interesting concept in itself.
Do you feel like people are really craving that connection now more than ever, especially with the use of phones? And is this something you're witnessing more in your space now, that people are just wanting to drop their phones and come in? And
100%. I think that like that is honestly one of the main reasons why like sauna culture is really growing. Although you still attend some bathhouses. I mean, a lot of bathhouses now are phone free, which is awesome. And they'll make you put your phone in your locker and you can't take it through. And then maybe like, if you want to get a quick photo at the end of some beautiful magnesium pool, whatever it is, you're allowed to. But some are still, I mean, and I'm not sure why. Maybe it's
wouldn't
just
it ruin your phone? I think wouldn't your phone could get ruined. Yeah.
Yeah. You can set your phone up with your music on your earpods and then jump into the sauna with your earpods in. But again, there's lots of the heat, plastic, all that kind of stuff. There's lots of new research coming out around that. I do think that, I mean, the phenomenon of obviously leaving your phone behind, but also just sitting still for like 15 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever it is interesting.
It's
and that
so
kind of,
true. Yeah.
yeah.
We just rely on all those distractions so much, right? Oh, we're sitting at a bus stop. Oh, okay, everyone else is looking down. Nobody. Okay, so if you start looking at your phone and then you go, oh no, this is really bad. So then you put your AirPods in, you listen to a podcast. And I mean, all these things that we're doing are a constant distraction to doing what you said is just simply being and sitting in your thoughts. And there's so
Yeah.
much power and wisdom in that.
Yeah. I also think there's kind of like this addiction to productivity and having to do something that's moving you forward all the time. And people sauna for different reasons. So like, people come up to us and maybe they're really into running and they're injured. So they're using the sauna for like cardiovascular workout and they really want to have like a sweat. I mean, recovery is 100% like a part of it, but you can also use it at like lots of people will use it as a top up on their gym session or like a workout.
Right. So how do they do that? Is that like it's a longer time frame or?
Yeah. They'll stay there for a longer session and often be wearing a watch, like monitoring heart rate or whatever
like
it is.
Like a biohacking kind of experience.
Yeah. Full Brian Johnson stuff.
Yeah.
Not that I'm a massive fan, but yeah. And the interesting thing about that is we'll run sessions on a Sunday afternoon and our pet peeve at the Sauna Project is people who push too hard in the sauna. The whole idea, I think, is to feel better when you leave than when you rocked up.
And, I love that. And I think that's a really important, valid point. Just been doing some study on this type of what you're talking about is when we go into this, I'm going to go hard or I'm going to push hard or I'm going to go for a run. Everything's going to be hardcore, going to sort of kick some goals to get my own personal best. And when we do that, it's like we set an alarm to our nervous system.
Absolutely.
And you're in that, then you become in that fight or flight instead of in that parasympathetic state.
The amygdala part of the brain is just pumping and you're like pushing.
That's right.
And it's like...
And it's sending a signal to our brain that it's danger almost.
But it's also so like deeply rooted, I think, in everyday life that it's hard to get away from it. And that's the invitation as part of our spiel at every session is to relax and take it easy. Like, are you actually comfortable? We hold a lot of tension in our shoulders or our jaw. Like, are you comfortable where you're sitting? I'd say that, it's not a gym session. If you want to treat it as a gym session, you 100% can. But invitation is to take it easy, which a lot of people find it hard. Sometimes I think it's because people want to get their money's worth because like they're paid to be up there. And sometimes I think it's just because maybe there's a little bit of ego attached to seeing out the full 15.
Do you get people in there that get overwhelmed or claustrophobic in the space as well, like newbies?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And what do you do in that situation?
I mean, we're not like the door isn't closed, like it's an open door policy. People can walk in and out. No one is trapped in the sauna. I think the time between sauna sets is like super undervalued, like that contrast time. And I mean, we're new to it here, but when you book into like a onsen or a bathhouse in, other countries, often the idea of booking in for an hour isn't really a thing. It's 3 hours. So, and you'll see all these spaces where people are just like sitting. And when I first visited some of these spots, I was like, what are these people doing? They're just sitting around in the normal air doing nothing. And it's like that's part of the experience, where time, because it's really easy to hyper focus on every sand trickle going down in the timer.
Yeah, isn't it true? And then sort of utilizing your time, like you have to, right, okay, I've got to do that, tick that off, and then I have to leave there and I've got to tick that off. But there's something really beautiful about taking 2 to 3 hours out of your day and just being in nature with the heat, back in the cold.
It's the best. It's the best. I mean, in terms of people though, feeling uncomfortable, I think that is like one of the biggest reasons we started the business. And for some reason, it seems to attract absolutely beautiful people.
Would you say that your crowd during the week is different to your Sunday crowd?
Yeah, I'd say that the during the week crowd is there to relax, whereas the Sunday crowd's very social. People choosing to connect at the sauna instead of the pub or, traditional kind of places we used to go. I mean, you only have to look at some of the data around and even what the bathhouses in Sydney and around the world are doing on Friday nights, for instance. So they're having sauna sessions with mocktails and people coming in to do Aufguss or choosing to do that instead of a big night out or whatever it is. So
I just think it's the way moving forward, isn't it? I'm always trying to encourage my sons to go in that direction because it's just this culture that we have here in Australia. But I think not just Australia, a lot of cultures around the world where we just feel the need to drink or go to a restaurant or a bar in order to connect and socialize. But there are so many different ways, like you said, that you can do that now.
Yeah. And I feel like those places as well are just so full of distractions. Great distractions. Don't get me wrong. They're all fantastic. Like I love State of Origin last night. Fantastic. But a lot of the time, those distractions inhibit, I think, deeper connection.
Yeah.
If you're sitting if I'm sitting with one of my best mates, on a bar stool and the footy's on it's really hard sometimes. People walking through. It's hard sometimes to actually like check in. And I mean, that's part of the reason personally I don't drink. I'm on the sober train and have been in that space for a while. The sauna is 100% connected to that in the simplest form, like a replacement for that world. But also in a weird way, you can kind of like it's like exercise, right? You just feel so great. You get a high
off it.
Yeah.
It lights you up.
Yeah.
And also just it gives you a sense of purpose and there are just so many amazing elements to saunaing. Is that what you call it? Saunaing?
Yeah, I think so. That's what I'm still working it out.
So how intentional are you about creating community within your space versus letting it unfold naturally?
That's a really good question.
I know you said you you spoke about having that school teacher influence and making everyone feel really comfortable. But have you got bigger plans on what it is right now from a community perspective?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a balance because the other thing is that me or Georgia or PJ or any of our staff or facilitators, it's really easy for us to also like hijack sessions. Yeah. And so like, it's kind of like this balance between trying to figure out like, the why and the what people are there. And we have a sauna book club, which meets first Friday.
Everyone communicates.
No. Yeah. Like we communicate on WhatsApp and then we meet like next Friday, I think, is our sauna book club. And so we have a focus book of the month, like fiction, nonfiction, month to month kind of thing. Sometimes it's really packed. And the other week there was like 2 or 3 of us. Sometimes I think you can over curate as well. I suppose it's part of being a small business owner as well and not being super experienced in this space. But I want to grow the community. I want more people to experience what we've been talking about, like that high. And part of that is like trying to get more things like this going. And it's happening like all over the world and in urban.
And understanding what people want, right? Like you said, like some people want to come in and have a bit of a mindfulness wind down at the end of the day, a mindfulness Monday, and then like a chatty Tuesday or something. I don't know, where you have slots that are more interactive or less interactive than others. It just depends on what.
And there's so many there's so many stories as well around that. People come and sauna, like their practice or protocol is different and they also attend for different reasons. And the community, we have like a bunch of nurses who come, and last Friday we had this lady come in and she had the worst day at work. And you can just tell on someone's face. And I was just so happy she was there. And that kind of thing happens a lot. And I can see who's obviously booked in and I'm like, oh, how's this going to work? It's like I have serious anxiety.
Dynamics.
Yeah. But somehow, that's the other, like I have to hand over to the universe because that's the nature of the beast in a weird way.
And if we want to get really woo-woo, sometimes the universe provides us exactly what we need at the right time.
100%.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, there's been times when I'm like, oh, do I need to like say that we're not going to, sauna is a place to relax. People come in for different reasons. Maybe we don't need to talk about politics today, whatever it is. But often it's just about actually taking a step back.
And because like you said, like when you put too many rules in place and then it becomes rigid, right?
Yeah.
But there's so much learning in it being a little bit free as well for people that maybe need to speak up. They're not good at boundaries. If somebody's talking too loud, oh, hey, would you mind us? I don't know. There's so much learning in that, right?
100%. There's community learning and like the fact that, we want everyone to leave having a good experience, but that's also not always possible, right? Like it's particularly as we grow. And that's a big thing that we're writing like a kind of handbook at the moment as we try to scale a bit. I mean, that's the key. I just want people to understand what we're trying to do and also feel as comfortable as possible. But it's impossible for me to actually make people feel like that. Like, and, and also sometimes like I get it wrong. I mean, you might want to edit this bit out, but this is very funny. We went away to Byron a couple of weeks ago and we've only left the sauna maybe 2 weekends. I've got the best people helping out, but we're still really small and it's more cost effective if Georgia and I are kind of just there. And we went away and a client rocked up. My friend Bexy Adam was running the sauna for us on this particular day. And a client rocked up and was like, oh, where's that really like anxious guy with the moustache who never shuts up? Where's it? And I was like, at first
she did not. Was your friend just ramping it up?
No. That's what she said. But I'm like, that is so awesome, like that she said that. And then straight away, I'm like, oh.
You're like, oh, God damn, I need to work on myself a bit. Okay, that's how I'm presenting, right?
No, for sure. And on a Friday, like I'm rushing, like tomorrow, I'm rushing around all morning like a mad person picking up the fruit and then I need to clean the sauna and then I need to light it and then it gets there and then people rock up at 3 and I've just had this like 4 hours of...
You're like manic.
And that like transfers over and it's like, okay, what can I do? Do I need to go and sit and like do my 20 minutes before the session start or whatever it is? But
oh, look, we're only human. We're all just having a human experience, right? Awareness is everything. And sometimes what we deliver or how we are is not how we intend to deliver it, but sometimes how it's received from somebody, right? So there's so many different ways that you can look at that.
For sure. And
but I love what you spoke about having a booklet, and that speaks to the educational piece. Hello, you guys are teachers. What year do you teach?
I teach mainly year 5, 6.
Okay. I love that. So is that a book for people, a digital book to hand out of the do's and the don'ts, how to get the best out of your hour or...
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, we have pillars in the sauna ourselves, like as facilitators. And I kind of felt like, why not just send them out to the ether and see if they work? And that's the other thing with, like we've sort of started like a little kind of like broadsheet that goes out monthly around the questions that we get, which are similar questions to you're asking now, from like logistical questions to sauna benefit questions to how should I actually sauna or when's the best, lots of stuff. And we're learning on the go, but really trying to also get in front of it.
The sweet spot is an hour of going in and out, four times in that hour, 3 times.
3 times,
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, there's a lot of contested, the rise of infrared. And then also there's these longitudinal studies now, which are like 30, 40-year studies out of Scandinavia, Finland mainly, where all-cause mortality, people are living for like 10 years longer who have saunaed for their whole lives. But I think the sauna is obviously like one part of an already pretty healthy lifestyle. And it's so interesting how the questions kind of come in waves. So like there's a lot of people who I think use the sauna for that athletic recovery or relaxation. And then there's lots of men at the moment who are coming in and being really worried about their fertility.
Interesting.
Because there's all this Brian Johnson research around sperm count going down with heat, which is I think it's short term, but I have thoughts on that, but it's also not my job because I'm a primary school teacher, not a scientist. Yeah, but for me personally, my sauna protocol that makes me feel good is going to be different for women, depending on what stage of their cycle is really, really important. And we have lots of women who have feedback around that. We have different tolerance to the cold. So lots of people will go from the sauna and then go into the cold too quickly and get lightheaded. But basically it's where the blood rushes from your head. Yeah. The benefit of the contrast is like the opening and closing of all of your
gotcha.
your your blood vessels and everything. And if that happens too quickly, you can start to feel a bit unwell. That's another thing, like huge in the spiel of every session is you sauna to feel. And often it can be like physical. So, if we get the Sunday morning crew who have had a big night on the Saturday night.
Yeah, that was my next question. So what do you do about that? There'd be rules around, you obviously can't drink and go into a sauna. But what about those people that are like sweating out their tequila shots from the night before?
Yeah, you can smell it. You can smell it. It's pretty weird.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, people book in and they sign our they tick the little box that signs the waiver. That happens. People rock up dehydrated, or, it's not even that. Sometimes it's like, base it off my experience. I'll have a really stressful week and sometimes I'll jump in the sauna and 5 minutes is enough.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ooh, I'm just not feeling it. And then sometimes I'll have a really stressful week and I'll jump in the sauna and 20 minutes isn't enough. So I think it's one of those things, like anything, that
listen to your body.
You listen to your body and you rock up differently. But managing the people who have had a few drinks, I say something like, we have this table, which is complimentary, which has electrolytes. So we use sody at the moment, water, fruit. So often we'll have we just moved to citrus fruit because it's citrus time, but we had stone fruit before that. And then we'll go to berries, which all have natural electrolytes in them anyway. And then we'll have a jar of lollies, which, is a bit naughty and they go the quickest. So I just say the more you hoe into that stuff, the better you feel after.
Yeah, you're replenishing what you're losing as well, so you don't feel wiped, especially if you have had a bit of a drink the night before.
For sure.
So how often should someone be saunaing? What's a recommended, we spoke about doing like an hour a day, evening is best. How many times a week for somebody to get real benefits?
2 to 3 times a week is my opinion. Hard logistically though, when it's an add-on to like everything else. So
yeah,
it's hard to get there. And that's something we find, in a business sense as well. But yeah, I mean, ideally, I think that's where it's at. So like if you can sauna on a Monday or Wednesday and then sometime over the weekend, that'd be great. But I also think that it's not only about sauna. I think if you can have a sweat, and that might be through exercise or through doing hot yoga class or a hot Pilates, whatever it is.
Yeah, because how could someone integrate it in? So to say if they came to you once or twice a week, how could they integrate that third day without a sauna? I'm wondering what that would look like. Can you get the benefits with a steamy hot shower? Is it the same sort of thing?
Yeah. Lots of people are doing that, like a warm bath. But the only thing with that, it's not super comfortable. Personally, I think having a sweat through exercise is probably where it's at if you're not saunaing. Yeah. And lots of people are doing that anyway, either using the sauna as like an add-on to that.
What role do rituals play here? The act of entering, sitting, sweating, cooling down. Is there something deeper happening in that rhythm?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. What do you think is the most powerful element besides the heat itself?
I think just the window is pretty special at our sauna. I mean, I love the window, just looking out across the harbour. And you sit there and you notice, obviously, like natural environments, particularly beaches, like change week to week. I mean, it's going to look very different tomorrow when we rock up after all this rain than it did last week. But yeah, the ritual, I think the ritual's like what people subconsciously really, really love. And that's from walking down the little path to our sauna to grabbing one of the stripy towels, having a lolly, and then jumping in. Lots of the time, people like to sit in the same seat. It's
so funny that, isn't it? The same seat? Yeah. I mean, I'm guilty of doing that too. When I go to the yard gym to train, I go to the same bench. And then I went to go to another bench that this other lady's at, and I thought, oh no, because you just think everyone's marked their territory on their bench.
Yeah.
So you don't want to. Yeah. We're creatures of habit. That can actually rock someone's world if you've taken their spot.
For sure.
I'm okay with that. But some people I would imagine would get funny about that.
For sure. I mean, it's interesting in our sauna because we obviously have a top bench and then a lower bench, which is like 6 to 8 degrees cooler.
So where do most people go? Top or bottom?
It depends. So like, I'm always like marathon, not a sprint. Better to start low and go high. But people just like to jump straight into the
high. It's like sitting at the back seat of the bus.
Exactly. And I think the other, like a really important note around how many times we sauna is like you gain heat tolerance. It's like anything. You gain fitness from doing. So in a strange way, it becomes more and more comfortable.
And you start to crave it. It's like
Oh,
my son's explained that with surfing. Like he craves being out in the cold water.
100%. Like we
Yeah.
run kind of this like essential oil infusion called an Aufguss. And Aufguss literally means like to pour. It's like a German word. And often it's like the most intense part of the session. So basically we pour the water and oil, eucalyptus onto the hot stones. All the heat like rises to the top of the sauna. And then I use a towel to like fan all that air down. And it's like the most intense part of the session for most people, particularly in the first sauna set, when people haven't been in the water. But it's the thing that everyone craves as well. Like it's kind of like a wobbly tooth. Like you kind of like miss having it once it's gone.
Yeah. And from your perspective, Chris, what is the true value of community when it comes to our overall health and well-being?
I think it's so important. Like I think the value is in the feeling you have after, particularly these days when, we're talking about our phone or when we're stressing about the logistics of our like personal lives.
Yeah.
Sometimes getting off self for a bit and listening to someone else or asking questions and trying to be an active listener is like exactly what you need. And yeah, I mean, people crave community and we don't even realize that we do. And sometimes for me personally, like I want to, like my gut feel is like to isolate, right? That's kind of like my go-to. And like it's the direct opposite action is what I actually need. And, then that's what we're trying to foster, like in a very small way.
Yeah. And it's so great that you have that awareness. And not many people do have that awareness. I had my mom, she used to withdraw and isolate. I mean, I feel like when I get really stressed or overwhelmed, I need to be on my own for a minute. But then I need people. Like I need a local coffee shop. I need community. That's really important to me to, I don't know, just like regulate, right?
100%. Yeah. I'm the same. I'm the same. I mean, again, it's like about balance, right? Like I think, which is hard to like, what is balance? It's impossible. But that's probably one of the coolest things about the sauna is the community. 2 weeks ago, I went to this thing called Sauna Fest in New Zealand,
Oh, cool.
which the boy, yeah, I know, it sounds wild. The boys over there who have some other Sauna Project saunas, they put on this festival. It's the 4th year. And they had like 1,100 people at this festival at the Blue Lake in Rotorua.
Yeah.
And so they had like 11 saunas lakeside and then halfway up the mountain, like another 10. And then at the top of the mountain, like another 10 saunas. And it's like a 3-day community festival.
So what are
like
people
food,
in like tents and sauna?
Yeah. So people like are bringing their families and like staying in their caravans or tents or like got Airbnbs around the corner. But I was in the Blue Lake looking back and here was like 11 full saunas. And I'm like, holy moly. Obviously those people were into saunaing. They bought a ticket for the weekend but the vibe was just
movement. It's like a movement, right?
Yeah, it's so cool. So cool.
Yeah. Well, we know about wellness and well-being. We know, as much as we like to have a glass of wine here and there, we know ultimately it's not great for us. It does make us feel like shit all the time whenever we have it. So I think we are looking for alternatives, and this space, it's not a new thing. It's been happening over the last 10 years. I feel like it's been cultivating, would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. Whether it be run clubs or social clubs, book clubs, whatever it is, like I think people are realizing that connection's obviously really important, and perhaps we've been a little bit disconnected of late. Towards the end of my drinking story, I didn't want to drink with other people. Like I was finding myself at home in front of the footy or whatever, solo, which was a strange, you look back on it, what were you doing? Yeah. Which I think is really common as well. And it's not all doom and gloom either. Like I think there's definitely a place for that. But sometimes I'm exhausted after a day at the sauna. I feel like my social battery is gone,
And also because you want to make the experience for everyone else memorable and you want them to experience what you experience. And so a lot of love and effort would go into that.
Yeah.
I wanted to touch on as well, I think, we keep talking about the sense of community, but I think the idea is, and when I heard you just speak, then it made me feel like it's more a sense of belonging.
Yeah.
right? Like you want
Yeah,
to fit in and belong somewhere. It's not just about maybe community is that.
100%. And I think
Mm.
where someone knows your name, who you are, which sauna seat you sit on, what's
Yeah.
your favorite? What's your go-to lolly or whatever it is. I think 100% belonging.
Mm.
Yeah. And when you belong somewhere, you feel comfortable. It's true. It's important.
Are there any exciting plans or expansions in the pipeline for the Sauna Project?
Yeah. Yeah. It's really hard for us. Obviously being new, one of the pillars of the connection to nature, our saunas or the community is connection to nature. So, and in Australia, a lot of red tape,
Oh,
very hard
yeah.
with council to find spots, but slowly there's momentum. Lots happening in WA and in Tasmania and in Victoria. And in 5 or 10 years, I think it's going to be a huge thing. In the UK, in Ireland, it's just kind of like taken off. You go to lots of these really cold beaches where ocean swimming community, and they'll do their ocean swim and jump in one of these box saunas that's set up on the beach.
Great. Yeah.
So I think eventually it's got to happen, but at the moment it's hard to scale. We've got hopefully a second location kicking off in the next couple of months, but
How
we'll
exciting.
we'll see.
Yeah. Oh, I love this conversation, Chris. I think it's a really important topic to share, not just about saunas, but about community and that sense of belonging as well. So before we wrap up, I love to offer a moment of reconnection, a few gentle questions I ask every guest. When do you feel most connected to yourself?
In the sauna.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think when I'm in the sauna or I'm on a run and I'm outside in nature doing something that I love, that's when I feel most connected.
Besides sauna, what are your go-to rituals you can't live without?
I still do a lot of running. It's my favorite thing to do. I really like running and I really love being in bodies of water. I like swimming,
Mm.
particularly
Do you
in the
surf as
ocean.
well?
Yeah, so yeah, love
Yeah.
surfing.
Yeah. Which
Yeah.
beach?
Yeah, well, I'm from the northern beaches, so I sort of
Okay.
surfed a lot up there. But since moving to the eastern suburbs, I haven't surfed as much. But yeah, we're often down Bondi or Bronte or Tama.
Tama. Yeah, my son's always
Yeah,
at Tama.
yeah, nice.
What has your body taught you about yourself?
Uh, my body's taught me that I need to be still more.
I hear
I
you.
Yeah, I sometimes am just like go, go, go. I mean, we talked about it, and I find it really hard to facilitate time to take it easy. Um, and yeah, and I'm not very good at multitasking. So what happens, like I end up just doing nothing particularly well because I'm trying to do too many things at the same time. So that's something I'm really trying to work on is just still presence and kind of just like not worry too much about the past or the future. Just
Yeah,
be a bit more
just
present.
being. Just being.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Chris, thank you so much for coming on. I think what I loved most about this conversation is that it reminds us well-being isn't always about adding more. Sometimes it's about stripping things back. Less noise, less rushing, less distraction, and perhaps more spaces where we can simply sit together, breathe, sweat, laugh, open up, and remember what it feels like to be human again. Where can people find you?
People can find us up at the Vaucluse Beach Paddock online. We're just called the Sauna Project on Instagram. And yeah, we'd love to have yourself, Tracy, and anyone, your sons,
So coming on
your
a
mum.
Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah, anyone can come up.
Yes. I'm coming to check it out for sure. Thanks so much, Chris.
Thank you. Thank you.